Welcome to Inside Marketing with MarketSurge, your front row seat to the boldest ideas and smartest strategies in the marketing game. Your host is Reed Hansen, Chief Growth Officer at MarketSurge.
Welcome back to Inside Marketing with MarketSurge, and today we're thrilled to welcome an absolute powerhouse in influence, visibility, and publicity. That's Dr. Richard Kaye, the founder of Top Talent Agency and a recipient of the prestigious White House Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. After retiring from his chiropractic practice in San Diego, Richard took a year off and then made a bold shift, dedicating nearly 25 years to helping entrepreneurs boost their reach through. He's helped clients become media magnets, best-selling authors, and highly sought-after thought leaders. Whether you're pitching yourself to TV, radio, or podcasts, or want to understand the real difference between PR, advertising, and publicity, Richard's insights on how to get invited back and create impact are pure gold. Welcome to the show, Richard.
Thank you, Reed. I just want to make one distinction. David Fagan, the president of the company, would be upset. I'm not the founder.
Okay.
I've been working with David for a long time.
Well, thank you for the clarification. Add a little okay. AI. So now the doctor in your intro, the doctor title, comes from a previous career in chiropractic medicine. Now you've made that transition to help entrepreneurs accelerate growth through publicity. So what sparked the shift? And what did that transition look like?
So I'm going to answer an embedded question, and it's how the second part is easy. The first part's easy too. When I graduated from chiropractic college, I got my doctorate, moved from New York to San Diego. Reed, there were 300 chiropractors in town. Oh. Here I am, the new kid on the block. Ladies and gentlemen, we are all in crowded fields. Yeah. How do we stand out from the crowd? Well, this is my first foray into publicity. I got myself invited to be a guest on Sun Up San Diego, the morning television talk show in San Diego. I got an article in the San Diego Tribune, got an article in the Los Angeles Times. So I was no longer just down here. I was growing in visibility, and we'll talk about influence, credibility, and exposure. Reed, you know the expression, it's not what you know, it's who you know. You've heard that,
Yes.
Let's take it a step further, actually a quantum step further. It's who knows you. That's what you want. I got a phone call one day from the producer of the ABC News. She didn't know me personally. She says, "Who are you? I'm seeing your name. I'm hearing your name around town. Now I've got a 6:30 news segment on ABC." Then I got a similar phone call from the producer of PBS. Same kind of questions. Who are you? Well, now I got a PBS segment about me. Now I'm no longer playing down here in the weeds with everyone else. I'm the most visible chiropractor in town. That's what publicity does for you. One day I was meditating, and I'll give you the Reader's Digest version, and I heard, "Shut your practice and work with entrepreneurs." And I looked around. There's nobody there, Reed. It's an invitation to trust these kinds of messages. Yeah. 3 weeks later, I shut down 30 years.
Wow.
A month, yeah, that's exactly it. A month or so later, I moved to Taos. I already owned 80 acres out here. I'm in Taos, New Mexico, and I figured I'd take a year off. Didn't happen. So I've been serving entrepreneurs for about 25 years, specifically in publicity for about 5 or so. So there you go.
Okay. It'd be nice to understand what you do and what publicity as a channel, for instance. Now, many people use PR, publicity, and even sometimes like advertising kind of interchangeably. Exactly. How would you define the difference? And maybe let's drill into what publicity is and how you can actually engineer publicity.
So I love the question. I'm going to tell you why. Because as you said, most people, the words are interchangeable, and they're so totally distinct and different. PR, public relations, works beautifully. It's been around forever. And PR, you hire someone to make phone calls, send a press release, even fax still works today. I was speaking with a client yesterday. She said, "Well, I already have a prospect." She said, "I already have a publicist, but she won't guarantee results." That's the problem with PR. You send the press release, it lands on someone's desk, and there's an 8.8 earthquake in Russia. Guess what happens to your press release? It's trash, never to be looked at again. Advertising, we all know advertising is you see it, you hear it, it's bombarded, and you can measure ROI, return on investment, on advertising. You advertise Monday, did sales go up on Tuesday? Do you make more money? Marketing is point of sale. Hey, two watermelons for the price of one today. You can measure it. The watermelon sell, cars, whatever it is. Publicity, you cannot measure ROI because it's long term. It's being featured for example, you may not know the magazine, but you certainly know that guy on the bottom. Well,
Yes.
it's backwards, but it says Tom Hanks or Shania or Tom Cruise. And then we have clients on the other side. You can see this is not a newsprint. This is a glossy magazine. You get featured in there. You get a feature story. You get featured on the other side. Imagine what value is it to say, hey, I got a feature story in a magazine with Tom Hanks or Tom Cruise or, Nicole Kidman on the cover. You've heard of guilt by association. This is prestige by association.
Okay.
It raises your credibility. Or if you're interviewed on ABC, it interviews your credibility. And those are some of the things we do. That's publicity.
Okay.
That answers that question? Yes?
I think so. I think that's very clarifying. So now, how do you go about this? Sometimes people describe opportunities they've had for publicity as luck, or, like, oh, somebody found me, but how do you, is there a repeatable process to do this and, get more opportunities?
Yeah, and some people do get found by luck. Someone comes across and says, "Hey, I like what you're doing." She got picked up because of what she is. She's Asian, and who she knows, and people just like I had the phone call from PBS and had a PBS segment about me. If it's not your gift, it's not your job. I mean, I would never attempt to do what you do with your programs and looking at your website. It's beyond my capacity to even grok or understand what you do. When you talk about publicity, we are the masters in it, how we've been doing it for a long time. And people come to us. ABC comes to us, says, hey, we're doing a segment on this. Who do you know who would fit in as a great interview for this kinds of things? So if it's not your gift, it's not your job. Hire the professionals. Can you luck out? Yeah. Do you want to depend on that? I don't think so. You want the professionals to do it. I don't know how many thousands or hundreds of thousands of miles I have flown. You don't want me in the cockpit. I'm very content in the back seat, in the cabin, and I leave it to the professionals.
Now, when you're selecting, I'm sure people reach out to you all the time. Would you say that there is a vetting process that you are looking for clients that have interesting stories, or are you in the practice of helping them define the stories that are already there?
We help them define and develop their stories because we all have a story to tell. I was on a call with someone this morning. She says, well, my story isn't interesting. And why? Because she says, I'm not famous. You don't want to be famous. You just want to be known. We help you develop your story so that it becomes impressive enough that, and I'm just using ABC as a metaphor, as one of the networks we deal with says, hey, let's talk about this person. Let's see how we can get them more publicity. Now, here's the key. Reed, it's not just the moment. It's not just being in that magazine. It's not just being on that broadcast. When I was featured on PBS, and I'll give you an idea how long ago it was, I was handing my patients VHS tapes. That's leverage. Yeah. That's saying, hey, go give this to your friends, your neighbors, your family. And when you work with us as an agency, we give you that stuff. It's not just the 5 or 10 minutes on television. We give you the sizzle reel. What's that? Shows you walking in the studio, the segue to you being interviewed, the picture of the host's reaction when you say something. And that's what you leverage. And that's what publicity is about. It's how you leverage it.
And I'm trying to envision myself as like a client. One of the questions I have is, I have experience in this kind of media only from just doing this podcast for several repetitions, but I don't know that I'd feel confident in being a great guest on the radio or on television. Do you have any thoughts on, like, can anybody learn to do this? Is this natural charm and charisma? Or
I love the question. It's not natural charm and charisma. Some people exude that. I mean, Tom Hanks, Julia Roberts, it's organic for them. We work with you. Ladies and gentlemen, most people are not comfortable in front of a camera. We work with you, and it's just like this. On television, you're having a conversation with one person. We're not putting you on Oprah where you've got an audience out there, and some people, love that. It's just like this, Reed. You're having a conversation. You and I are here one-on-one. It happens to be on a camera instead of eyeball to eyeball. Same thing on radio. You're sitting across from someone, you've got a microphone, and you're just talking. And, it's not shock jock stuff. We elevate people. And the interviewers are masters at helping you be at ease. And we train you. You will learn how to take a deep breath and be at peace. So listen, you're a good looking guy. You got a great voice. You've done these. You would master electronic media.
well,
Take that fear away.
I'm sure part of the practice is to flatter your client and get them up. And
You're authentic. There's a distinction. I mean, I didn't know you personally until we had this conversation.
right.
People say, oh, you've got a face for radio. No, you've got a voice that resonates and is really good.
Thank you.
The authenticity is what's more important than anything else.
Well, now, okay, so to that point, there is often, like in the broader tent of marketing a business or marketing yourself, personal branding, there's a question of how should you balance earned media and advertising and potentially publicity that I might group with the earned media. Do you feel like these are two essential parts? They are both necessary to support the brand?
Depends on where you play.
Okay.
As an organization, we don't advertise. We do social, we do reach out to people, and people come to us. For example, on a very much higher level, the president of our company, David Fagan, he's the owner, the founder.
Clarification.
Yeah, he just wrapped a documentary for somebody. Now, prospect I spoke with the other day said, well, I have my film crew, we're putting together a YouTube thing. No, this is a full feature documentary, which will be aired on Binge TV. We just had clients, the Napoleon Hill Foundation just refilmed Think and Grow Rich, new interviews. We have several clients in there. Again, that's a Binge TV thing. So will there be advertising? Binge may advertise that. We don't. We work with you as a client, so you go out and leverage. About a year and a half ago, I got a phone call, Dr. Kaye, you're the recipient of the White House Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. I didn't even know I was nominated. That was cool. It's never made me a penny. That's not an ROI thing. It is a leverage thing. And I can give your followers, ladies and gentlemen, a short video on how to leverage everything you've got. Here's one way of leverage it. It's in my email signature. And when you see that, it says, wow, somebody recognized this guy. I won't tell you which term it was in because we don't want to get political. But it's the acknowledgement of it. So we don't advertise. I don't advertise. My wife's a best-selling author. She doesn't advertise. People now come to her. Can we interview you? Can we get you out there? Can we do things to get you? And that's the key. I choose you. I've heard, like the lady from PBS. I've heard your name. Who are you?
Yeah.
That's where you want to be.
No, that's fantastic. And maybe to support your point a little bit, I've experimented with a lot of different marketing outreach for my personal brand, for my company's brand. And though this effort of creating a podcast, I don't know that it has resulted in many direct leads. It does really help my conversations with my existing clients.
Yes.
It helps like the authority, kind of the quality of conversation, the trust gap can be bridged, I think.
That's it. That's trust. As a matter of fact, that's the basis of the book I'm editing as soon as we wrap this.
Great.
It's my new book. It's about trust and how it works. And adding into that is a best-selling book. Now, today, you walk into a room of entrepreneurs. Who's got a book out? Every hand goes up. Who's got a best-selling? 85% of people raise their hands. Who has leveraged that book? And people look around, what the heck are you talking about? And that's the gift. And richardkay.com/leverage, RICHARDKAYE.com, should know my name, leverage. And it's a short video of 10 ways to leverage any and all publicity that you've got. And Reed, you mentioned something important. It doesn't make you money. When I spoke to you about my being interviewed by you, I sent you 10 reasons why people listen to me.
Yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, that's what you want to create, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're a company. You want people to have reasons to at least talk with you. And that's where publicity grows. When I apply, whether it's television, radio, podcasts, summits, I give them 10 reasons people want me on their program. Not everybody says yes. That's another whole story. No is an okay answer, by the way. But you spoke to it. Your podcast raises your influence, your credibility, and your exposure. And that's, as entrepreneurs, I don't care what size company you're in, that's what everybody's seeking.
Yeah. So to pull that thread a little bit further, now you've mentioned you've worked with authors and you've worked with entrepreneurs. Who are the people that your service best fit for a client?
People and companies that want to contribute to serving humanity, to being in service. And what do I mean by that? I've been in this space for 25 years helping entrepreneurs. And when I interview a prospect, I've had two people who said, I just want to sell the company and lie on a beach and drink margaritas. I'm not interested in people who just want to suck the oxygen out of the room. I'm interested in people who want to help people thrive, service humanity, raise the vibration, and help people improve the quality of their lives. Those are the people with whom we choose to work.
Okay. I love it. And I think everything has to have a cause beyond the business of it.
Beyond the shareholder,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly. Yeah. And, I try to fit that in my own life. So, yeah, I think that's fantastic. Now, if you could leave these founders, these authors, marketers, whoever, with one powerful takeaway about publicity, what would it be?
Vet whomever you're working with. Find out. I said my wife is an internationally renowned author. She gets emails all the time. Hey, we'd like to work with you. We can do this. We can do this. One, she responded, hey, I was just recently featured on the NASDAQ Jumbotron in Times Square. Can you do that? They never responded. One company emailed her, and what she's learned is, honey, do your research. And this is where the answer is. Do your research. Vet whomever you're working with. So she copied the name of the company, put it in chat, and said, tell me about this company. They said, it's a scam. They take your money, $1,000 a month, whatever, and they don't deliver. Well, I say don't respond to these things, but she did. She sent it back to them. And their response was, well, yeah, but we can still help you. In today's culture, we are all inundated with crap in our inbox. Most of it gets deleted. Check it, do your vetting. If you find us, some of the companies we work with, well, again, we just did a documentary for a billionaire. You'll find every book we work with, we will only do it if we can feel it's a #1 bestseller in multiple categories. Some of you may know who Lisa Nichols is, one of the top speakers in personal growth. She's a client. As a matter of fact, David was the executive producer on a one-woman Broadway play she just did. Wow. Sharon Lecter, Think and Grow Rich. These are some of the people we play with. Forbes Riley, who has sold $2.5 billion in product on television. She says, I want what you just did for Lisa Nichols. She wants to be on Broadway. She wants to be on the Jumbotron. TopTAgency.com. Look at it, vet it, TopTAgency.com. And if you want to get in touch with me and explore if you or your company is viable, talkaboutpublicity.com. One word, no punctuation. Talkaboutpublicity.com. And that's another key to success. Make it easy. Make it easy. Yeah. Talkaboutpublicity.com. Doesn't get much easier.
Yeah. I love it. Well, Richard, this was really great and really helpful. I think this is unique. I don't know anybody that's worked with a publicist, for instance. And so I think this is something that is really valuable. I think I might be considering this myself. So,
Well, thank you for that endorsement.
yeah. Well, thank you for joining us and for the wisdom and educating us about this channel for promotion and branding. And I am really excited to follow you now. And all I can say is thank you.
Thank you, Reed. Thanks for saying yes. That's what we want people to say. I choose you, and be honored to work with you. I've looked at your website. I've looked at your LinkedIn. I see what you do. You provide a remarkable service. And if people don't know about it, you're going to wind up in a 9-to-5 job. Not that that's bad. That's for some people, but not for you, not for entrepreneurs. Thanks for the opportunity, Reed.
Want to stay ahead of what's actually working in marketing right now? Head over to MarketSurge.io and see how we're helping businesses grow smarter, faster, and louder. That's MarketSurge.io, because your next breakthrough shouldn't be a guess.